Today we're talking about what are those things to avoid when you're opening your home care agency. And so when you think of all the topics that we've been talking about for the past 6 days, today's day number 7. I can't believe we're almost done with this series. A lot of that is making sure you do those things. So you'll see that theme. It's going to be common in what we discussed today. So I definitely just wanted to welcome you. Okay, so I am actually going to get started with today's presentation. So I've already welcomed you, but I just want to talk about some of the common mistakes to avoid and definitely learning from these mistakes. Hopefully, if you don't make these mistakes, this will save you time, money, and stress while setting you up for success. Okay? So, avoiding mistakes is crucial because hopefully it prevents unnecessary financial loss. It ensures compliance with regulations and legal requirements. It helps to build a strong reputation from the start. I would say once your reputation, if a lot of noise gets out there about your agency, it's hard to overcome that. So we definitely want to build that strong reputation from the start. And then, of course, we always want to improve our caregiver and our client satisfaction. So what are some of those pitfalls to avoid? And we're going to be talking about every single one of these. So skipping market research, not having a clear business plan, underestimating startup costs, ignoring licensing and compliance, poor caregiver hiring and training practices, weak marketing strategies, lack of technology and systems, neglecting customer service, not building a strong referral network, and then a failure to plan for growth. Okay, so those are some of the pitfalls that we'll be discussing today. So we're going to start with that market research. Definitely, you want to avoid not knowing the demand for home care in your area. So again, this points back to having a great business plan, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in a future slide. But if you are executing your business plan, part of it is your market research. And so by doing that research, it will help you pinpoint who your customer is, but what is that demand for your area or whatever area you're planning to operate your business. We definitely do not want to overlook competitors and their pricing and not identifying your ideal client demographic. Listen, not everyone is your client, okay? So in order for you to understand that or move forward in that notion, you have to know who your client is. Okay, so the solution to this, we've kind of been talking about it. Make sure you conduct that thorough market research before launching. So, not having a clear business plan. And for those of you who have watched a few of my videos, or if you and I have had personal conversations, this is something I'm always going to talk about. You need to have a clear, concise business plan. I actually enjoyed putting mine together because I learned so much by putting my business plan together. So the reasons why you have to have that clear business plan is if you're operating without a roadmap, it would be easy for you to be confused. Where are you going? And not only where are you going, but how are you getting there? Right? So it's just so important to have that clear business plan. If you are looking into investors or funding, you got to have that solid plan. They're going to request it. They're going to want to see it. And of course, the solution here is create a structured business plan covering operations, marketing, and financial goals. One thing I do want to say here is I do have a course on the business plan, but I have done a few videos as well. So if you're not in the market for a course, I have done some videos on the channel. We'll be sure to put those into the video description once this is uploaded. So take a look out for those. You can kind of do a business plan refresher there. So underestimating your startup costs, and this was something we talked about pretty much all day yesterday. So we don't want to run out of funds before you even launch and get your clients, right? So this is not understanding your licensing fees. If you need to operate and get an office, if your state requires that. So not budgeting for marketing, your insurance, your payroll. These are the types of things that will make you kind of burn out before you even get started. So something we ended our call with yesterday is just plan a realistic budget with at least 3 to 6 months of operating expenses. Okay. So, ignoring licensing and compliance. I last year can't tell you how many clients I had that unfortunately were caught in a position of operating without being licensed. And so you just want to make sure you understand the licensing and the compliance. What is the regulatory, atmosphere for your state? So remember, when you operate without that proper license, that can result in legal trouble and financial penalties. So again, and again, research your state regulations and obtain all necessary licenses and insurance. Okay. Not training your caregivers. So poor caregiver hiring and training practices. So this leads to, remember, our caregivers are the face of our business. And so if they're having a not so good experience with being hired and onboarded onto your agency, that's going to trickle down to your clients. So you want to make sure that you are hiring qualified caregivers. Okay? If you hire someone who's unqualified or doesn't enforce the mission and value that you set up, it's going to lead to a poor client experience. Also, when you have high turnover, that increases your operational costs because now you've put all of this time, money as an investment into this person. They haven't stayed with you long, and so now you have to put in more money, more investment into someone else. So you want to make sure, and this is actually a good exercise to do, is trying to figure out when, because typically if a person's working for you for a certain amount of time and you've put a certain amount of money to onboard this person, to attract them and then onboard them, when is that break-even point for you? That lets you know if you have got your return on investment as it relates to actually hiring somebody. Okay. So the solution here, implement a thorough hiring process and ongoing caregiver training. Okay. And I say this all the time. California has really set us up for success because there's so many training requirements that a caregiver has to have before they even touch a client. Okay. Which is a good thing. Okay. Weak marketing strategies. So even though initially your clients are most likely going to come from your inner circle, people that you know, people that you have as a part of your circle, we can't just rely on that, right? That shouldn't be our only funnel for clients. And then not utilizing digital marketing and SEO. Honestly, it's a whole new world. People do business differently. And even if you think of your demographic, when you think of your client, your perfect client, they may not be on social media, but it could be their son, it could be their daughter, it could be their guardian who's looking for that care for mom, okay, or looking for that care for dad. So the solution here is you have to invest in a strong online presence, social media, and then community networking. Okay, those are the ways. So those are our powerful 3 marketing strategies: online presence, social media, community networking. Okay, again, your marketing strategy should be coming directly from your business plan. Okay, so you want to avoid weak marketing strategies. Lack of technology, if I could talk, y'all. I haven't had my coffee yet this morning. Lack of technology and systems. So I realize, and I think most of us know, we're operating, when you first start, you're operating lean. Okay. So a lot of your processes, a lot of your scheduling, things of that nature are going to be manual. However, the hope is to eventually scale into something technical. Okay. So you should be scaling to technology. So when you don't have that, or you operate for so long, that manual scheduling, that manual record keeping, it's going to lead to some errors. Okay. All right. So inefficiency reduces profitability. So anytime there's an error, if there's a cost associated with that because of a manual error, you got to right that wrong. Okay. So the solution here is using scheduling, payroll, and client management software as soon as you can. I would say for my clients, I don't want to say half and half, but I would say a lot of people start off with their software, but I mean, I can honestly say, I don't want to say half and half. I would say 40-60. 40 people kind of start off, 40% kind of start off manually, and 60% start off the gate with something, with the actual software. Okay. Neglecting customer service and quality control. Listen, if you are neglecting what your clients are saying to you, not only are you not going to have those clients any longer, but they're going to be telling other people about what their experience is. Okay. So right off the bat, you have to have some type of mechanism when you audit, like you inspect what you expect. I learned that early in my career. You have to have some type of audit process, some type of feedback process. So unhappy clients result in bad reviews and lost business. No quality assurance leads to inconsistent care, right? And then the solution is regularly check in with clients and caregivers, both of them. We're not neglecting either one when we're seeking feedback to maintain high standards. And you all, this doesn't have to be something grand. It could be a phone call. Hey, Mrs. Polino, I'm just reaching out to you to understand how things are going. Are we meeting your needs? You know, if that person comes back with something constructive, I'm so sorry to hear that. Tell me more. You want to hear more information about that. Not only do you want to hear it, but you want to show that person that you're willing to do something about it. Okay. So you should have processes in place to do check-ins, stop-ins. Hey, I was going to check in with my caregiver on Friday. How does that sound for you? Can we come together around noon? Something like that. Okay. Same thing with your caregiver. Calling them, texting them. How are you doing? If you know that maybe your caregiver had an issue with Vajika last week, how are you doing this week? How are you both doing? Do I need to switch clients? Let me know, especially if this is someone who is an A+ team player for your team. You want to make sure that they're happy. You want to make sure that their work environment is a trusted one, but a place where they feel they can grow. Okay. So we kind of talked about this a little bit, but not building a strong referral network. So no partnerships with hospital, rehab centers, or senior communities. You've got to get out there. I like to say this, you got to pound the streets. You got to hit the streets. You got to make phone calls. You're going to have doors slammed in your face. You're going to have people hang up on you. It's okay. You got to keep going. All right. So you got to create those strong communities. If you did not see the week before last week, I posted a video about scripting. And so one of my clients allowed us to utilize her video. One of the scripts that we did, one of the examples was to a senior community. So check that out if you haven't already. Okay. Losing potential clients due to lack of industry connections. And then solution, just actively network and establish referral partnerships. For those of you who are at this point in the licensing process, start heading out to events, see what's going on for your city calendar or maybe events near you. So you can start just kind of doing that networking. I always find it's easier to do something when your livelihood doesn't depend on it, right? So this is you kind of building your resources, building your tools for once you actually do get started. Okay, so really kind of get used to building people, shaking hands, introducing yourself, and talking about your business. Okay. Failing to plan for growth. So stagnation due to lack of scalability planning, hiring and service expansion challenges. The solution here is develop a long-term vision for scaling your business. A perfect example, this one is just comes right off the top of my head, is a lot of times our agencies, we start off as non-skilled, but then people transition to skilled. right? It's a different client. You need different professionals to work within your agency once you become skilled, but it also opens the door to have, to generate additional revenue. Right. So I think that's the biggest thing that I can think of. Sometimes it's just adding a different service to your suite of services, right? But just making sure that at some point you can scale, you can grow. Okay. So take time. Take time to research, plan, and implement strong business strategies. So connect with me if you want to find a place where you need expert guidance, you need resources and support. Come on over to my community that we've set up. Okay, so let me go on over to Sultana. Good afternoon. So one of the things in the community that for sure you would have is I do try to upload the presentations afterwards. When at the end of the live, we actually upload so you can see the presentations. But the community, you'll have the 10 presentations, all of them available for you to download in terms of having that deck so that you can have that as a resource. But I'm excited about our community because we're really just finally coming together. There's some of you who have been with me for years, and so it's time. It's time for us to have a community. Okay. So I am so thankful for your presence today. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, tomorrow is day 8, if you can believe it. And we're going to be talking about funding for your home care agency. I know that's going to be a good one. So we're going to be talking about securing that funding so that you can start your home care agency. Okay, well, listen, I hope you all enjoyed today's presentation. And I will see you all tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Have a wonderful day.